Thank you to the University of Arizona and this opportunity to present at the Science of Consciousness conference. I am representing my school, the University of Metaphysical Sciences. And today we're going to be talking about the linguistics of consciousness. And Dr. Gary Flint proposes, and I agree, that the subconscious has a linguistic process that is separate from both conscious and unconscious acquired language. My name is Denny Van, and I have been a professional linguist since 1996. I have had and still have contracts with Fortune 500 companies, with universities, with state and federal agencies. And I was at the top of my career in 2001 when I was diagnosed with a fast-spreading form of cancer. So what happened was I said no to traditional therapy, chemotherapy and radiation, and I was told I would be dead in 2 years if I didn't follow the treatment plan. And my healing journey began. I became a certified hypnotist and neuro-linguistic programming specialist, purely for selfish reasons. In 2008, I passed the predicted deadline, and people started coming to me for this type of healing work. And even deaf and hard of hearing people started coming to me to receive the benefits of this type of work. I had a dilemma. To understand conscious processing, we have to agree on what is conscious, what is unconscious, and what is subconscious. Once we come to this agreement, there's been substantial research done on the range and boundaries of unconscious processing. However, there has been no consensus made. And completing the integration process, it does require communication and collaboration between the conscious, the unconscious, and the subconscious. And this is going to be discussed in the methods part of the presentation. But still, even today, some may still combine unconscious with subconscious. Freud himself used the term subconscious interchangeably with unconscious at first. Later, he did reject the idea of combining them. However, we are learning that the subconscious is capable of so much more than we anticipated. And even some today are referring to this as the superconscious. So this superconscious, in order to make this superconscious an ally in any kind of treatment or intervention, we have to be able to communicate with it. This part had language before we acquired language. And I would like to propose a metaphorical allegory to create a behavior model of conscious, unconscious, and subconscious and how they work together. Dr. Marty Groth described metaphor as a figure of speech that portrays an idea by contrasting unrelated things or concepts, usually by asserting that one is the same as the other. For example, life is a journey. In essence, a metaphor is a comparison of two seemingly distinct items used to illustrate a point and generally to generate imagery, nonverbal language. And this imagery can convey a deeper meaning. Metaphors do enhance understanding, evoke imagery, and convey complex ideas in a concise and vivid manner. The phrase metaphor's more cerebral cousin kind of suggests that there's a nuanced exploration beyond traditional metaphors into a realm of figurative language that is more sophisticated and intellectually stimulating. While metaphors do create a vivid imagery by equating two disparate concepts or their cerebral cousin, it might delve more into the deeper layers of meaning, abstraction, and complexity. Some of the most famous writers, teachers, and philosophers in history used metaphors and allegory. Metaphors work through the language of imagery, an unspoken, non-verbal language. And this is my linguistic specialty, nonverbal communication. I take what I see and I put spoken words to it. Sometimes there are not enough words to convey what it is I'm seeing in a visual language. Being able to use metaphors and allegory helps me create a solid bridge between two completely different languages, cultures, and worlds. Yet there is a bridge for communication to happen. And then in the methods part of the presentation, we're going to be metaphorically applying superstring theory to this behavior model. So the captain of the ship metaphorically represents conscious awareness. Conscious processing is like the spotlight of your awareness, and it allows you to deliberately think, to analyze, to make choices. Your conscious focus, awareness, and attention is your most precious gift. Marketing knows this. Marketing knows this, and they study, research, and test how to hijack and profit from our conscious awareness. They teach today that when selling to your audience, you now have 3 seconds or less to capture your audience's attention. It used to be 6 seconds as little as 2 years ago. And it's reducing more and more to capture our attention because our focus, awareness, and attention is just spread so thin. And with this conscious awareness, conscious processing involves deliberate awareness and cognitive effort, enabling intention, decision-making, and problem-solving. We actively engage our attention, our awareness, and analyzing the information in detail, making deliberate choices, and consciously control our behavior, often relying on language, thought processes. Below the decks of the ship metaphorically represents the unconscious. The unconscious processing operates below the surface, shaping our language use effortlessly. Think of it like the conductor of an orchestra, many levels of an orchestra, coordinating various unconscious processes without your conscious direction. This is important, and depending on what we are consciously focused in on, it will awaken parts. We call them parts below the deck that might be suppressed, unprocessed, or even inherited memories, shadows, or parts where particles are entangled with what the captain is focused in on. So the conscious, unconscious uses acquired language. Conscious versus unconscious processing. So conscious processing involves deliberate awareness and cognitive effort, enabling intentional decision-making and problem-solving. We actively engage our attention, analyze the information in detail, and make deliberate choices, consciously control our behavior, often relying on these language-based thought processes. But in unconscious processing, operating beneath the surface, beneath conscious awareness, shaping our behavior subtly without direct acknowledgement, it handles routine tasks, influences behavior, and processes information quickly, bypassing conscious thought and relying on emotions and intuition. But is mind matter? So René Descartes, and we've heard his name mentioned several times throughout this conference. René Descartes is a French philosopher and mathematician from the 17th century, and he's widely known for his famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." However, many scholars have questioned and argued that it oversimplifies the complexity of our human consciousness. Did his theory do more harm than good? One of the major criticisms against Descartes' philosophy is his separation between consciousness and science. He believed that only matter can be studied through scientific method, while consciousness or mind cannot be observed or measured objectively, and therefore belonged in the realm of religion. This led to a disservice in which he ignored the importance of subjective experiences and introspection in understanding human nature and behavior. His approach created an artificial dichotomy between mind and body, and he argued that the mind was immaterial while matter was physical. This dualism implied that the mental processes such as thoughts, emotions, were separate from bodily functions like sensations and movement. Research in cognitive science and neuroscience has shown that there is no clear distinction between mind and body. The brain processes both mental and physical events simultaneously, suggesting an integrated view of human experience rather than a separation between them. Language serves as a vital bridge between conscious, unconscious, and subconscious dimensions. If the subconscious has a linguistic process that is separate from conscious and unconscious acquired language, then the I am is there before the I think therefore. And the dilemma is, did Descartes play a mind game to cover up his mistake when he realized that he had made an error in his reasoning? But instead of admitting it, admitting his mistake openly, he used a circular reasoning to justify his original argument, saying that because he could doubt everything else except for his own existence as a thinking man, it must be true. René Descartes' philosophy has been criticized for its oversimplification of complex issues related to human consciousness. His separation between science and consciousness created an artificial dichotomy which ignored important aspects of subjective experience. However, I say mind is matter. The importance of linguistic processes, because language serves to connect the conscious and unconscious realms of cognition, facilitating the exchange of information and understanding the dimensions of the mind. Linguistic processes offer profound insights into the intricacies of thoughts, emotion, and behavior, acting as a behavior model between the conscious and unconscious. So language serves as a vital bridge between the conscious and unconscious dimensions of cognition. Adding the framework of a behavior model creates a direct path that makes the unconscious conscious. We remove the artificial dichotomy between mind and body. The subconscious has a linguistic process that is separate from both conscious and unconscious thought, as well as from all memories, and is capable of much more than we anticipated. And the conscious mind has power over the subconscious. Yet, we are just cracking the surface of what it is capable of. And again, we already talked about how Freud used the term subconscious interchangeably with unconscious at first, but later rejected the idea. However, today, some still combine the unconscious with the subconscious. The subconscious observes what the captain is focused on and how the parts below deck in the other dimensions are responding or reacting. It can see the superstring and which string will undo them all. It sees it in perfect order and in perfect sequence. At the heart of Upledger's approach is the recognition that the body has its own innate wisdom and capacity for self-healing. Through guided imagery and dialogue, individuals can tap into this inner intelligence, accessing deeper layers of awareness, facilitating and the release of physical and emotional tensions within the body. One of the key principles Upledger explores is the concept of the inner physician, which refers to the body's inherent ability to heal itself, especially when given the right conditions and support. Through imagery and dialogue, individuals can establish a connection with their inner physician, fostering trust, communication, and collaboration, especially between the conscious mind and the body's innate healing intelligence. During my training at the Upledger Institute, I learned about a newly discovered system in the body, and this system has a rhythm all its own, the cranial-sacral system. And I learned that I could communicate with this system within the body, barely touching, following the rhythm, disrupting, stopping, redirecting. This rhythm showed me a very basic communication system. And I worked with hundreds of people between 2007 and 2020, many who experienced mental, physical, and or emotional trauma. And this part of us wants to communicate, but there are rules. Dr. Flint would guide the patient to lift one finger for yes, another finger for no, and maybe another finger for I don't know. So this technique is called ideomotor signaling, and it involves using small, unconscious movements of the body to communicate responses to questions or statements. So in this case, lifting a finger for yes and another for no serves as a way for the person to indicate their response without necessarily having to verbalize it. Ideomotor signaling can be used in various contexts, including therapy sessions and paranormal investigating. Using the pain scale would be another tool for a person to indicate their response without the need to verbalize it. This is the framework that I learned. It's called the success mechanism, and it's collaboration between conscious, unconscious, and subconscious. And this is the framework that led to the creation of this 4-step success mechanism. And we're going to be talking about that more in the methods part of the talk. Unlike unconscious processing, which can be indirectly accessed, the subconscious operates entirely outside our conscious awareness, and we have no direct control over its contents or actions. Access to a vast storehouse of past experiences, emotions, and memories, the subconscious can influence our behavior without our conscious knowledge. While the conscious and unconscious processes are becoming widely known, the subconscious remains hidden. So with the model here, we know about the iceberg. 10% of our conscious awareness is just the tip of the iceberg. So that's conscious awareness. And then beneath the surface of the iceberg can represent, metaphorically, the unconscious. Now the subconscious sees both what we're focused in on, what we're consciously aware of, and it sees what's happening below the surface in perfect order and perfect sequence. So we have no direct control over its contents or actions. However, access to a vast storehouse of past experiences, emotions, and memories, the subconscious can influence our behavior without our conscious knowledge. While conscious and unconscious processes are becoming widely known, we're still not sure how the subconscious works. However, we are getting there because now we're talking about the methods. Back to my dilemma, where deaf and hard of hearing people were coming to me for hypnosis and wanting the benefits of this type of work. So hypnosis and guided meditation with individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing was a dilemma for me. So I started asking the field, space, they talked about it, different kinds of questions, and answers started coming into my experience. So the pieces started coming together. I used hypnosis, my reticular activating system, and focused attention on a specific question. How can I create a practical, simple solution to help those who use a visual language? This set me on a magnificent journey. So a framework began to show itself, and it's a 4-step process that once learned is self-directed for self-guidance, self-awareness, self-healing, self-processing, self-integrating. Someone who does not have understanding and the tools or a method or a framework can face the opposite experience in their life. And that could look like self-projected outward, comparing themselves to others, becoming manipulatable, controllable, unaware, in the box, self-poisoning, blaming, repeating patterns that harm and not benefit themselves with no way of knowing that there are other choices. And some people are saying in our society right now, we are in a mental health crisis. And with this self-directed healing, people take it upon themselves to guide their healing. The integration process uses triggers in our external reality to make the unconscious conscious. So the subconscious needs 3 things in order to be an ally in the integration and reprogramming process: clear communication, access to every memory, and agreement with the dynamics of our personality, which include amnesic and dissociative parts. Clear communication acts as the key that unlocks the door to hidden dimensions. Just like any conversation, achieving a productive collaboration with your subconscious requires clear, consistent communication. When you express your goals, desires, and intentions with clarity, you plant seeds within the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. Access to every memory enables a thorough exploration, fostering a deep understanding and connection with the intricate landscape of the unseen inner worlds. Forging a powerful subconscious alliance requires alignment with all aspects of the self, including past traumas, amnesic, and emotional detachments, dissociative. So now with the introduction to the integration process. So the integration process bridges conscious, unconscious, and subconscious dimensions, and it fosters unity in cognitive functioning. It merges insights from the conscious awareness, automatic responses from the unconscious, and stored intricate aspects in the subconscious. This process enhances self-awareness, emotional balance, and overall well-being. The subconscious can be utilized to integrate, treat, and reprogram a variety of problems once it has been trained to respectfully collaborate with the unconscious to overcome barriers that are preventing integration, also referred to as memory structures, shadows, or parts that are associated with emotional suffering brought on by suppressed or unprocessed traumatic experiences. So there are rules. There must be agreement with all unconscious parts because the subconscious will not do any of the integration and reprogramming work unless all the parts related to the issue or string that is being strung, spotlighted in the unconscious, agree to do the integration work. Because again, there is no coercing, forcing, or tricking the unconscious. It must agree to allow the subconscious to do the agreed upon integration work. Only then is the subconscious taught how, with its own language, how to do the work. The integration and reprogramming of the subconscious mind is a complex process that requires cooperation from all related parts in the unconscious. It's important to note that Flint discovered childlike parts or shadows, like ganglia of superstring. It's a type of structure that may act or take over the driver's seat, and these parts may feel intimidated or fearful during this process, which can make it even more challenging. However, it's critical to remember that there can be no coercion, forcing, or tricking involved when working with the unconscious. Everything must be done with mutual respect and agreement. Once all the parts agree to allow the subconscious to process the work, it becomes much easier for integration and reprogramming to take place. This is because the subconscious is then able to learn how to do this work through its own language and understanding. By taking this approach, we can help ensure that our efforts are effective and sustainable over time. Integrating and reprogramming the unconscious mind requires awareness, understanding, and cooperation from all related parts. With these elements in place, and by using an approach based on mutual agreement rather than forceful tactics, like re-triggering the person by telling the story again and again, or using temporary band-aids, we increase our chances of success while also ensuring long-term benefits for ourselves and our clients and patients, as well as those around us. So, bridging quantum theory and invisible forces. Once the subconscious is trained to respectfully collaborate with the unconscious to overcome barriers that are preventing healing, it can be utilized to integrate, treat, and reprogram a variety of problems, making it an intervention tool. This integration process acts as a catalyst, propelling forward the study of consciousness by providing insights to the intricate workings of the mind. Understanding integration between conscious, unconscious, and subconscious processes helps researchers delve deeper into how the mind functions. The conscious mind and symptoms that show up in the neurological system are the main topics of therapy and pharmacology. Because the change process doesn't take place where the problem is, it has no effect on unconscious behaviors, emotions, or triggers. This connection suggests the existence of invisible forces that intricately shape and control our cognitive reality. According to quantum theory, these invisible forces are hypothesized to exert their influence within hidden realities beyond immediate awareness. So the intriguing aspect lies within our ability to access these hidden realities, often facilitated through techniques like hypnosis. Such practices offer a unique glimpse into the profound interplay between quantum influences and the intricate realms of the unconscious and subconscious. So, distinguishing memories. We talked about memories here, but the question is, are memories part of the hidden reality? Memories can be separated into two categories. We have content memories and emotions. Research suggests every time we pull up and tell the story of a memory, it changes it. Every time a memory is retold with emotions, it changes the dynamics of the memory structure. This phenomenon is called reconsolidation, and this occurs when memories are retrieved from long-term storage and become temporarily unstable before being stored again. During this process, new information or emotional experiences can be integrated into the original memory, potentially altering its content or meaning. This means that memories are not fixed and unchanging, but rather dynamic and subject to modification over time. There were several studies published that investigated the effects of emotion on memory, but one notable study was conducted by researchers at Northwestern University and published in the Journal of Psychological Science. Participants were asked to recall emotionally charged events while undergoing a functional MRI. The results showed that recalling emotional memories activated regions of the brain associated with emotional regulation and cognitive control, suggesting that these processes play a role in updating memories during reconsolidation. The study found that when participants recalled emotional events, their memories became more vivid and detailed over time. However, the accuracy of their memories also decreased as they incorporated details from other related experiences or information. So the researchers concluded that emotions can influence how we remember events, but it's important to be aware of how our memories change with each retelling. Can we use this process to our advantage? Memories stemming from conscious experience contribute to intentional behavior, guided by awareness and deliberate cognitive processing. Simultaneously, memories rooted in unconscious experiences subtly shape automatic responses, influencing behavior without immediate cognitive awareness. This interplay of memories from both conscious and unconscious realms intricately molds our behavior responses to a diverse stimuli that we encounter. We have these structures in our energy field that are tied to memories, and they can become triggered in our now experience, affecting the choices we make and what we experience in our outer reality. Albert Einstein said in a letter to his friend in 1952, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle." This quote refers to his theory of general relativity and the idea that particles are influenced by space-time curvature caused by massive objects. Now, if mind is matter, would this theory apply? Traumas, suppressed emotional responses, unprocessed negative experiences can all become metaphorical, massive objects in a person's field and would affect their perception relative to time and space reality. What if we can metaphorically apply superstring theory to a behavior model? From this perspective, we are polyphasic and multidimensional beings, each being a membrane of the whole. What if we applied superstring theory to a model of behavior? Stephen Hawking said that the standard string theory model, it's ugly and ad hoc. Michio Kaku delves into the concept of superstring theory by saying, "It seemed hard to believe that nature, at its most supreme fundamental level, could be so haphazard and supremely intelligent. He goes on to say that the bizarre feature of superstring theory is that these strings can only vibrate in a specific dimension of space-time. They can only vibrate in 10 dimensions. Our universe is 4-dimensional, 3 dimensions of space and 1 for time. He said that this means that the other 6 dimensions must have collapsed somehow or curled up. So has anybody ever wondered about the saying, the kingdom of the heavens is within? Go within. The answers are within. Superstring theory posits that the electron and other subatomic particles are nothing but different vibrations of a string, acting like a tiny rubber band. If one strikes the rubber band, it vibrates in different modes, with each note corresponding to a different subatomic particle. These strings can only vibrate in a specific dimension of time-space in 10 dimensions. Now, Kip Thorne says, by 2020, physicists will understand the laws of quantum gravity, which will be found to be a variant of string theory. So my question is applying string theory to a behavior model another variant? If mind is matter, then the laws of quantum gravity would apply, no? Edward Witten of Princeton Institute for Advanced Study and Paul Townsend of Cambridge University speculated that all 5 string theories were in fact the same theory, but if we add an 11th dimension, from the vantage point of the 11th dimension, all 5 different theories collapse into one. In the 11th dimension, a new mathematical object can exist called a membrane. In this behavior model, conscious awareness is compared to the captain of the ship, who directs his course and makes decisions based on what they can see, hear, smell, taste, feel. Meanwhile, unconscious awareness is likened to the ship itself and all that goes on below deck, things that are not immediately visible or accessible to the captain. The subconscious mind, which has been described as a superconscious that can perceive both what the captain is focused in on, conscious mind, and as well as everything happening below decks in the unconscious dimensions. This superconscious aspect can be trained and used as an ally in unraveling ganglia of superstrings of thought or behavior patterns. By using this metaphorical framework, we might better understand how different aspects of our minds work together, with some parts being more visible than others, and how we might use certain techniques or approaches like integration to gain greater insight into ourselves and make positive changes in our lives. So if we apply superstring theory to this model, first, awareness strums a note, what the captain is focused in on. Then related particles light up in the dimensions below deck. Awareness holds the 11th string, the membrane, and it can release all 10 levels related to what awareness is focused on and activate an internal mechanism that will reprogram, release, and reorganize the particles in order to alleviate the pain. For this process to be successful, all levels must agree to the reorganization and integration process. Conscious awareness is focused on something causing pain. It strums a note with a specific frequency, the first string, or the 11th, depending on your relativity. Particles related to that first string wake up in the floors in the dimensions below deck. In the 11th dimension, a new mathematical object can exist called a membrane. So as a human being, it is the membrane connecting the different parts of oneself together as a whole. My training in hypnosis and studying brainwaves, entrainment, binaural beats, frequencies, and subliminal messages or affirmations helped me discover how to resolve my dilemma, the 4.5 hertz gap within the alpha state. Again, we are polyphasic and multidimensional beings. We have access to many states and many dimensions at once. There is no need to go into deep hypnotic trance to begin the change work. Training the subconscious in states within this gap holds profound, concise, and impactful implications for healing, personal growth, and transformation. Using focused awareness to reprogram triggers for greater self-awareness and empowered resilience to face life's challenges authentically. By accessing the deeper layers of the psyche, individuals can uncover and address unresolved trauma, fears, and limiting beliefs, unlocking hidden limitations that may be holding someone back from realizing their full potential, and fostering holistic healing, integrating the mind's innate capacity for transformation. I applied the success mechanism to the idea of using waking state hypnosis and the state of prayer or gratitude to aid in the change work. In waking state hypnosis, Dave Ellman's approach to hypnotherapy and waking state hypnosis found wide application in clinical settings, including the treatment of various conditions such as pain management, habit control, anxiety disorders, and psychosomatic or unexplained illnesses. His techniques have been utilized by practitioners worldwide for decades. Ellman was dedicated to teaching and training others in the field of hypnotherapy. He conducted workshops and seminars to share his expertise and techniques, influencing generations of hypnotherapists. And then the state of scientific prayer, it's a concept popularized by Joseph Murphy. He's a pioneer in the field of mind power techniques. Murphy explores the idea that prayer can be approached as a scientific process grounded in principles of psychology, metaphysics, and coherence. By understanding and applying these principles, individuals can harness the power of their subconscious mind to manifest desired outcomes and improve their lives. Scientific prayer presents a methodical framework for engaging in prayer and spiritual endeavors, which is grounded in the fundamental tenets of psychology, metaphysics, and faith. As Joseph Murphy famously said, prayer is the most powerful form of energy one can generate. Prayer changes conditions. Through scientific prayer, we can harness this transformative energy to shape our destinies and realize our highest potentials. The ancient language of the subconscious uses images, metaphors, and allegory to communicate. Metaphors are highly effective communication tools, and by gaining access to different states of consciousness, the subconscious can be trained as a healing ally. The success mechanism is a four-step process that successfully transforms unconscious behaviors into conscious behaviors. Dr. Maltz highlights the role of confidence and self-efficacy in activating the success mechanism. So it's something that is already in you. He suggests that by cultivating a sense of confidence in their abilities, individuals can overcome their doubts and fears, enabling them to take bold actions toward their goals. He places significant emphasis on the transforming capacity of achieving mastery over one's self-image and effectively utilizing cognitive abilities to attain achievement. Teaching this framework one-on-one or in a group setting facilitates the mechanism and builds on success. Step number 1, become aware. Your focus, awareness, and attention is your most precious gift. And so when we become aware of how our body and our nervous system is responding or reacting, and we want to break out of the box and develop this self-awareness, recognizing the impact of one's own mindset on relationships and outcomes, and actively choosing to see and respond to others as people rather than objects. And then second, make the subjective objective. This is where we can measure our results. This is how we measure our results in step number 2. When we make the subjective objective, while focused in on what is causing the pain in the external reality, we engage the assistance of the subconscious to reprogram, release, and integrate the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of unconscious parts once there is agreement to being integrated. This is rewiring the brain's neural circuitry. And then self-directed integration. The unconscious cannot be tricked, coerced, or forced into integrating what remains separate. Many times, suppressed parts are used for unconscious protection. And the idea of integrating can make it feel like it's dying, like that part is dying, or there's resistance to integration. So it's very important to have respect, communication, and agreement, as this is vital on the unconscious level. And then reset the nervous system. And this is a fun step. Other mammals will show us how we can reset our nervous system. So this is the 4th step in the 4-step framework. Triggers initiate awareness. They act as catalysts, prompting us to become conscious of unconscious behaviors, emotions, and patterns that we may have been acting out automatically. These triggers can be external events, such as a specific word or situation, or internal cues like a particular body sensation or emotional state. Focus awareness is the first step in the integration process. Integration includes deeply ingrained beliefs that may be limiting our growth, unresolved emotions that can manifest as physical or emotional discomfort, and even fragmented aspects of our personality that we may have disowned or suppressed. So it's empowerment through transformation. We become empowered, and getting to recognize and successfully respond to triggers can be a great tool for self-development and transformation. By accessing and working with unconscious material, individuals can unearth hidden truths, heal emotional wounds, and reclaim lost aspects of the self. Through a simple mechanism, the process of integration offers the opportunity for profound self-discovery, growth, and empowerment. Techniques and tools, practices aimed at accessing and working with collaboration and wholeness to promote healing, growth, and integration. This 4-step process initiates the mechanism employed to facilitate unconscious release and integration. The subconscious, when harnessed effectively, becomes a powerful ally for integration and reprogramming. It plays a pivotal role in integrating and harmonizing aspects of our cognitive landscape, aiding in the resolution of barriers that are hindering personal growth. The subconscious holds the potential for reprogramming automatic behaviors, facilitating positive change in alignment with conscious goals. So I had to start with myself. I became the experiment. How do I make the subjective objective? How can I measure the results? I was the membrane that collapsed into the inner dimensions. I had to learn and experience myself. My membrane started to light up and became a magnet for others strumming the same string. I began asking people who follow me on social media, which is about 15,000, to join in a facilitated group experiment. The results were very encouraging. I wanted to get it out to more people and created a course on a platform where I currently have about 8,500 students in 86 countries who have signed up for my classes. One class includes this 4-step mechanism and has almost 1,000 students enrolled. This course is available for free worldwide. The feedback has been very encouraging. Self-directed healing by activating the mechanism of success. What's next? One cannot fully grasp this concept without putting it into practice and experiencing the effects firsthand. Theoretical understanding alone does not suffice. Only an experiential experiment can solidify true understanding. Because knowledge without application amounts to little more than empty words. Real learning comes from actively engaging in experimental exploration. By activating the success mechanism and utilizing various techniques such as prayer, hypnosis, and self-hypnosis, we have access to the alpha brain waves that lie at the foundation of conscious awareness. These waves serve as a gateway to our subconscious mind and hold immense power within them. As you delve deeper into the alpha level, which is characterized by the frequency of 7.5 to 12, you will begin to tap into an inner voice, your intuition. This intuitive voice becomes increasingly clear and profound as you approach the lower end of this frequency at 7.5 hertz. Prayer has long been recognized as a powerful tool for connecting with higher powers or energies beyond oneself. Hypnosis involves inducing a trance-like state in which individuals' attention is focused on specific suggestions or imagery provided by a hypnotist or themselves through self-hypnosis. So these techniques enables individuals to bypass critical thinking processes and access their subconscious mind more easily. And accessing alpha levels using prayer, hypnosis, or self-hypnosis provides individuals with an opportunity to tap into their intuition, unlocking hidden potentials within themselves while gaining greater understanding of what they truly desire from life. So I would love to open it up for discussion and questions.